This is the United Uprising channel. Welcome to today's show. This video I am doing is to try and unlock a lot of people's minds out there because we live in a reality where one of the things that we think is true, and maybe the only thing we look at for real information, is the news, right? To find out what's going on in the world, because we can only see so much with our own eyes. You can only see what's going on around you 24/7. So we have the news, or we're supposed to have the news, so that we can know what's going on around the world and around our government and in our states, et cetera, right? Well, nothing could be further from the truth because the perception that they give us and the reality they tell us of what's going on is all scripted and fake. So that's how we live in this bubble that we're in right now, is that we've depended on the television and we've depended on news media outlets to give us information what we deem real because we've been told that the news is real. But think about what it does to you when you start realizing that everything they tell you is a lie. Your whole perception on what is going on is a lie, right? And what you have to do when you watch the news is you have to look for patterns, right? Specific patterns of repetition, because repetition is the key to mind control. And they do it in a way that is very subtle and you don't realize what they're doing. So if you've heard me over the last couple of years, I've warned about this civil unrest and how they are leading us into states that are going to be blue and states that are going to be red. And this is all done by design. But what you probably haven't processed is how subliminally they've been doing this with their talking heads on television. Now, these are people who are supposed to be giving us news. We're supposed to look at them as if they're journalists, as if they're not actors, if they're not paid operatives of the Central Intelligence Agencies. They all are. I've talked about this many times over. Where they're trained at Tavistock, they go through specific training. That's why all newscasters talk and sound the same. Their delivery is all very, very similar. Their cadence is very, very similar. It's because they're programmers. They are programming their audience, right? And this is a pattern I want to show you right now. And I'll show you the repetition in clips because this is something that they're starting to take away on YouTube, is showing these clips and patterns. I've specifically am notorious for doing this. I've been doing it for years now, of showing you the pattern of these clips in order so that your brain can start deprogramming. It's a very, very important thing to do. You not get that from the alt-right media. You only get that from people such as myself, specifically me, who continually gets banned for doing this and showing you this. They try now to actually say that I'm reusing content. I'm not protected under fair use. This is what I've been getting recently because I'm using many, many clips. And you're supposed to be able to use clips. You probably have seen reaction videos on YouTube where somebody's reacting and playing a movie trailer and they're giving their response. I'm not allowed to do that. Other people can. And I get deemed as reusing other people's content, etc. Because what I'm doing, and I'm about to show you, is many clips compiled, put together, showing you a pattern. The pattern that you're seeing is that you're hearing famous people and conservative people fleeing from specific states. You're hearing liberals fleeing from one state that is a very controlled state, like, controlled conservative type state where they're not allowing, where they do allow guns, but they don't allow people to have sex changes. And the other is, well, they're making mandates, they're forcing mandates on people, they're letting homeless people run amok and drugs run amok, all done by design. And the latest is Fox News correspondent Hannity, Sean Hannity, who is don't ask me how anybody's actually been programming and liking this guy, but this is just proof of how programming works. People listen to this monotone, boring snooze fest of an anchor who makes millions of dollars on TV and trust in him. People who think they're awake trust in these people. They don't understand how programming works. They are under hypnosis. And here is an anchor, and here's a compilation of clips of how the conservative media has been subtly putting in all these celebrities, from Mark Wahlberg to Rob Schneider to Scott Baio. It doesn't matter the degree of fame that these people have. Just like it didn't matter what degree of fame during the Me Too movement that some of these people had, as far as, getting outed as being, sexually harassing women and all this type of stuff. All that matters is the repetition of how many of these people you hear, right? And with this messaging, they're telling you that they're freeing these out of control liberal states, going to conservative states, because they're trying to get you, without you realizing it, to move to these states, because they're trying to get you like a chess piece. They're trying to move you where they want to move you. And ultimately people go, I don't understand why they would want to do that. Well, the more conservatives that are in conservative states make them sitting ducks for attacks, false flags, right? Right now, people are mixed up all over the place. They're trying to make it unlivable based on politics of where you live, saying, well, I'm in a state like, let's just use like Vermont or New Jersey or Pennsylvania, right? As specific states, right? So let's use Pennsylvania as one that claims to be a liberal state but has a lot of conservatives in there. Well, they want to make it so much so that you don't want to stay there because you're a conservative. You've grown up there your whole life. It was a conservative state, but they want to make it a liberal state now, and they want you to flee to places like Florida specifically and Texas. So listen to how they subtly are doing this. They're not forcing this on you because they're using mind control on you. The more you hear this, the more this seed gets planted into your head, and then eventually when it comes to your state, your liberal state, which might not be California, might not be Oregon, it might be one that's more somewhat of a neutral one like Pennsylvania or New Jersey, where they're going to get you to go, you know what, I got to get to a state like Florida. I got to get to a state like Texas. This is how they're doing it. They're telling you about these people leaving these states, and they're subtly telling you that this is what you need to do, and eventually it will start working on people, and they will start forcing people to do this, not by physically forcing you to get out, but you will have no choice because you won't want to live amongst the rules. Instead of saying, hey, you know what? Who gave the government this much power in the state, or who gave the state this much power over the citizens, where they could literally just turn everything into, everything into green energy and green this and force everyone out? That's what people should be saying. Instead, they're just going to listen subtly to the programming like this I'm about to show you, and without even realizing it, they're going to be following suit.
And welcome to Hannity, and Happy New Year and Happy Election Year 2024. Now, the exodus out of big states like New Jersey, California, Illinois, New York, it continues. In fact, tonight we are now broadcasting from my new home, the great free state of Florida. Like so many Americans, I left New York for good and am now in the state with, let's see, warmer weather, law and order, better education, more freedom, better quality of life, and guess what? No state income tax. Now, here is my prediction. This mass migration out of deep blue states, like the ones I just mentioned, that will continue unless and until they change their governing philosophies that are overtaxing people, overregulating people. They're underperforming in schools and safety and issues of public importance, and that's why it's happening. But no matter what state you call home, I will say this, 2024 is going to be a critical year, not only for our country, but for the world. As anyone who has lived in New York will tell you, yeah, elections have consequences. And in just 11 short months, and they will fly by, you, the American people, you will determine the future of our country and, frankly, the trajectory of the world.
Marky Mark departed Hollywood and is living in Sin City. Actor Mark Wahlberg selling his $90 million Los Angeles home, pushing to create a, quote, Hollywood 2.0 in Nevada over California's woke policies.
All right, well, listen to this. Actor Scott Baio says California has gotten so bad, he's making his way to finally, quote, exit stage right. Okay, the 62-year-old says the issue of homelessness is prompting him to leave. In a series of tweets, he criticized California's soft-on-crime policies and said the state is not a safe place anymore. Baio is best known for his roles on Happy Days and Charles in Charge. He has lived in California for 45 years. I Googled it. I think he was born in New York, so I don't know where exactly. I mean, where are we going to go, Spencer?
Poor Scott. We're going to miss him so much.
How bad has California gotten? California has gotten so bad, Scott Baio is leaving California. Let's bring him in. Why are you leaving California? I heard it's because you might have to pay reparations. Is that true?
Well, that's just the icing on the cake, isn't it? I've been there for 45 years, Jesse, and I've watched California, Southern California, devolve into a third world country between the homeless defecating on the sidewalk, doing drugs on the sidewalk in the middle of the day, illegal aliens all over the place, laws mean nothing, crime is out of control, graffiti on everything, and all my tax dollars, I don't know what they go for. I'm afraid to go to the mall. My wife and kid are afraid to go to the mall. It's become an unlivable situation. What?
My wife afraid to go to the mall.
What?
Next guest can relate to this. Actor and comedian Rob Schneider joins us right here.
How are you?
Great to see you, Rob.
Yeah.
finally have you on the couch.
Thank you. It's
You used
good
to
to
walk
be.
right across the street. What's your reaction to Tulsi Gabbard doing what she did yesterday?
It shouldn't be such a shock. We don't get 10 parties. You get 2,
Right.
you know? And I really feel I don't want the Democratic Party trying to run my life. And there's not one aspect of your life that they don't want to interfere with. So I had it with them. So I got out of California. I moved to the slightly freer state of Arizona.
Slightly.
Fantastic. It's bright and sunny here in Las Vegas. I did leave California like a lot of other folks, and that's why it looks like it's so bright here in my room, because it is very bright and sunny here. And I am one of those probably 1 million people who has left California, and I thought I would never leave California. And the reasons are very simple. The horrible policies. I mean, California's the most beautiful place in the world. I thought I would never, ever leave there. And the bad policies have just drove me out.
Was there any one tipping point for you where you just said that's it, that your breaking point?
No, there wasn't one specific thing. It was really an amalgamation of time after time after time, policies just making no sense at all. Whether it's the policies on homeless and open air drug markets, or not prosecuting people who are committing crimes or coming in and stealing out of stores, and this $950 limit. All these sorts of policies are just creating an environment that is awful. Plus, the tax policies have just been hammering me for decades. And finally, I said, why am I doing this? And my son was actually part of it and instrumental. And he was like, Dad, you're always angry about this one or that one or this and whatever. And as gorgeous as it is here, why are we here if it's making you so mad and you disagree with so many policies? So it made good sense for me to get out, and I was fortunate because I had enough money and wealth to get out of California, and it's one of the smartest things I ever did.
I've been in this state my entire life. It was very rare to find anyone who would leave the state. Everyone came to California. People didn't leave California. There were 2 scenarios. It was my job is taking me to, New Jersey or something. Like you would have to move because your company moved, or you were just a little older and a little richer and you were going to Maui. Those were the 2 choices. Now it's just we're leaving to go anywhere. And, California just does nothing but waste money on things that don't benefit Californians. We had a bullet train that we spent, $100 million on. That's not a bullet train that goes from some part of California that no one lives in to Merced or Sacramento or Fresno. Like, we just waste money on things.
Got late word in just the last hour from Elon Musk. He's pulling the trigger on a major decision. Musk says he's moving Tesla's headquarters from Silicon Valley to Austin. The announcement made at Tesla's annual meeting. CNBC's Phil LeBeau covers cars for us. Phil, he threatened this, but it sounded like just a threat, but it's not.
It's not a threat. And I think a lot of people are not surprised to see that Tesla is moving its headquarters from Fremont, California, or in the Silicon Valley area, down to Texas. And here's the reason why. Musk he's clashed at times with regulators and officials in California over the years. He then moved last year, selling his houses in California, and he's essentially relocated down to the Austin area.
So that's how programming works, right? You hear this stuff and people are like, oh, yeah, Hannity left New York. New York's a cesspool. Instead of saying, why is New York a cesspool? Why are they turning into a cesspool? Why are they turning these states into these, unlivable places like California and New York? And why are they boasting up these other states for conservatives? And why is the liberal media making it like it's great in those states? Like, oh, California's great because, you could have all the operations you want there. You could have all the abortions you want. You could run your family members from conservative states into California and get the abort. We'll pay for it with our tax money. Herding mechanism. Herding, no different than what we see at a zoo. Herding human beings where they want to herd you, right? With animals, you'd say, hey, how are we going to get all the sheep into the barn, right? Let's just look at it from this perspective because this is what's happening. They look at us as cattle. It's the same thing. So let's look at it from that perspective, right? There's a bunch of sheep out there, right? What are you going to get? You're going to get a wolfhound, a sheep? Are you going to get a person with a cane, a little thing, and get them into the barn? Okay, well, that has to be done. Otherwise, the sheep are just going to stand out there all day and night, right? So they know how to herd them into the barn. You know how to herd the animal into the barn. At the zoo, how do you herd the wild lion? How do you tame him to get him in? Oh, you give him the meat. Oh, he's going to go, he's going to sit, he's going to obey because he wants to eat, right? That's what they do with us. So they're not going to forcefully come to your door with a gun to your head and tell you to go into the states that they want you to go into. They're herding you into these states. They're psychologically doing this to you. Celebrities, news anchors, these people are all deceiving actors who are using the power that they have. They don't worry about censorship. You think Sean Hannity's getting censored? Of course not. Why is it only people like us that get censored? Because we see the psychological operation that's going on. This is a psychological war. It is a war on your mind. So you see these things going on, right? You don't see a compilation of them, but you're getting shown this over and over and over again. You're getting shown B-level actors, Mark Wahlberg, who's a higher level actor, but you're seeing Scott Baio, Rob Schneider, Sean Hannity. And what are they subtly telling you? Joe Rogan, right? They're fleeing these crazy liberal states. These are like-minded people that you could agree with, and they're going to these states. And without telling you, they're trying to tell you that you need to go to these states, okay? They are trying to herd you into these states for upcoming false flags. And eventually, this is what's going to happen everywhere. Everybody's going to have to start doing this. But just having the mindset that you have to leave a state because of the rules in that state is what they're getting you accustomed to now. They're desensitizing you to it, and they're conditioning you with this nonsense that the state is turning into this type of state, and you have no control over the people in that state. And no matter what, these people are staying in the state. You would think in California, right? That it would flip into a conservative state because it's becoming a cesspool. But it doesn't. It just continues to stay as a liberal state, right? Do you see the pattern here? You can't vote them out. You're going to have to go is the pattern. Your vote don't count anyway, but they're not even giving you that option going, hey, you know what? Next election, we got to vote Newsom out, get some real people in there so we can rebuild California. They're not giving you that option. They're saying, look, you're going to have to leave these states. These are now, it's a dictatorship where these are dictator blue states and these are dictator red states. And you're going to have to go to one of them, whichever one fits your preference. Do you want kids to be able to castrate themselves? You're going to have to go to California. Do you want to not have a magic potion forced inside your body? You're going to have to go to Florida, right? Done by design. They know what they're doing here. The state is not, these red states are not safe havens for any of us or any of you. They're honeypots. They're leading people there by design, and then they're going to hit them when they get there. They're going to hit them hard. Not right away, but they're going to leave you in those states, and then eventually you're going to get hit with HAARP. You're going to get hit with all sorts of weaponized weather. But on top of that, it's sitting ducks for World War III. Who do you think they're going to target for these bombings, et cetera, especially if Trump at the head of the wheel in the red states? Huh? They're going after people who are against this type of tyrannical insanity, this fake utopian society they're trying to create. They're going for people who are like us. People they would say, or they would label us as conspiracy theorists or patriots or etc. People who don't want to be controlled are the people that they want to take out, right? So whatever hat you want to wear in this, if you want to say you're just a Christian like me, who has no interest in MAGA, well, they still want you there because they're going to make it unlivable in these other states where they say, hey, you're going to have to be potioned to go to the grocery store. And you're going to go, I'm not doing that. And you go, well, I'll try to farm them. Well, you won't be able to farm in blue states, okay? So they're going to get you into these states, and then you're going to be sitting ducks in them. But do you see how this subliminal mind control works? How they subtly have been doing this over and over and over again? Instead of people going, hey, you know what, Sean Hannity? Hey, you know what, Rob Schneider? Shouldn't we, if our vote counts, have the ability to get these people out? And they go, well, yeah, but, these people want this, apparently, these states. This is just proof that your vote doesn't count because nobody wants total insanity like this and total control like this. And these celebrities are playing their part, and these talking heads and TV are playing their part to subconsciously program you. This is the new norm now. Instead of saying, this is crazy, you have to move to a state based on political ideologies in the state. You can't even stay in the state. Never used to be like that. It'd be like, whatever, my state tends to lean liberal. Oh, okay. It didn't mean that you'd have to worry about your kid going to school, that some adult dressed up in drag would be grinding on your kid. Never meant anything like that. In the past, it means that now, because they're trying to drive you out of the states that they don't want you to be in. They want you herded into the ones they want you to sit in based on your political ideology, so you'll be sitting ducks for something bigger. I know this sounds like a lot when I'm saying it this way, so let me just take a deep breath with me, okay? This is them psychologically doing this to you subtly. So when you're out and you're around people, you're like, man, I got to get out of this state, because you just start hearing stories about things going on in your state. It never used to be like that. People would be like, I want to leave my state because I don't like the weather, right? If you were in Montana, one of the most beautiful states, or Wyoming, you'd be like, I can't deal with the cold anymore. I can't deal with the snow anymore. Maybe I should go somewhere like South Carolina where it never snows and you get nicer weather, or North Carolina, wherever, right? Maybe I should go to the South. That would be a reason for someone to move, right? Or if you're over there and you're like, you know what, there's too many people. I'm in a city, I'm in Florida, I'm in New York. I want to go to Montana because I want to get away from people. I want to live kind of off grid. I want to be out in nature. Those would be reasons to move, right? In addition to that, maybe for a job, okay? You wouldn't be moving somewhere based on psychopathic governments driving you out of the states because they're making you put this in your body, or they're telling you that your kids should do that with their body. Okay? That would never have happened in the past. It's happening now for a reason. For a reason. They're making you, without you realizing it, move where they want to move you. Leave states that they don't want you to be in, and they're going to make it so unbearable that you're going to eventually have to go. This is what needs to be stopped. Power of the state needs to be taken away. It's overreach beyond overreach. I call it overreach on steroids. That's what it is. Nobody out there is paying attention to it. They're just like, oh yeah, did you hear so-and-so left California again? Yeah, crazy liberal state. Instead of going, why are we giving these tyrants power over the state so much so that they're driving people? Is anyone realizing what they're doing? No, they're not. They're not. They're just laughing, going, they're leaving California because these liberals are crazy. Screw California. That's what they want. That's what Newsom's doing deliberately. He knows what he's doing. These guys know what they're doing. Stop giving them, they're just like, they think that these people are this stupid and clueless, right? You're the ones who are stupid, not you. Listen to my channel. The people out there who are doing what they want you to do. They're acting this way for a reason. Biden's acting this way for a reason. They're psychologically playing with you. They know exactly what they're doing. Our government, which is run and controlled by the CIA, has been doing experiments on the human mind since before any of us on this channel were born. Okay? Anybody listening before you were born. Okay? This goes back to World War II. So unless you're in your hundreds here, then you're listening, or you're very old. No offense. You weren't alive when the CIA was taking control of this country. So these people have been experimenting on the brain before we were born. And now we're a part of the science project and the experiment, which is why you have to pull back and watch programming for what it is. It's to program you, to herd you, to make you feel this way, to think this way, right? And you see other people and they're products of this. We all have to pull out of it and try to pull them out of it. That's why I continue to do what I do, to try to get people it's very simple. It's a false reality that they're creating. And then when you start seeing this stuff, you go, yeah, they are mentioning that a lot about moving out of this state, that state. It's a constant theme, right? Repetition. You're seeing patterns. And then you got to go, why are they doing it, right? You think of civil war. How are you going to have a civil war unless we're not divided blue and red states? And the war ain't going to be fought with cannons. The war's being fought on your brain, okay? Then when you're sitting ducks in those types of states, your dictator leader, whether it's Trump or whether it's Biden or Obama or whoever gets put back in, will go into separate wars with all these other big countries, and they'll leave you as sitting ducks. Trump is going to leave the conservatives as sitting ducks. He is not a conservative. He's not a Christian. He is one of them. It's so easy to see. The guy is great on the mic. I get it. But that's why the Bible tells us not to put faith in man, put faith in God. But people are putting their faith in man, and they are being herded beyond comprehension at this point. I can't even comprehend how unbelievable this is as far as an operation goes, a psychological operation that people out there can't realize that they're doing this stuff by design. It's strategic, okay? It's a strategic mind F on your mind. All right, what does Stranger Things have? The mind flayer, whatever they call it? This is the government mind fraying you, frying your brain pretty much. And you're thinking you're independently making these decisions and doing this stuff, and you're not. You're going where they want you to go. So pay attention. Pull back from the programming. Share this video with people if you're out there and you're still listening at this point. Just try to show them the patterns. They don't want me showing the patterns anymore. I can see that when I'm getting these reused, demonetizing channels, shutting channels off because they're saying it's not my own content, right? Because I'm using clips of showing you these things. They're using whatever they can to silence people from getting you to critically think. This is basic psychology that's being done on you. Okay? These people are like putting you under hypnosis at degrees that I can't even explain. And it's from every angle now. Every angle. If you break from the hypnosis, you break from the mind control. Okay, but they want to keep you in that hive mind. So, reminder, check out my other channel, A Call for Vengeance, if you haven't yet. I need more people sub to that channel. This channel is a strike. I will not be able to upload for a week. I also have a Teespring store that is now open. They don't last very long. For anyone who's new to my channel, they don't last long. I get banned from those as well. So, I've been banned from all those stores. They won't even let me do that. Why? Because, well, if somebody wears a shirt, somebody might say, hey, well, one, it could help financially support the channel. But two, people find out from word of mouth, guerrilla marketing of who the channel is. They don't want that either. So Teespring shut down my channels, my stores in the past. Have you ever heard of such ridiculousness? Not just my YouTube channels, my store. I mean, so it's unbelievable. They don't want me to be supported in any way, shape, or form to make as much content as I make, which, again, you can become a Patreon if you feel led. You can join the website at uprisingrevival.com if you feel like, I mean, you should join the website at the very least. But these are all things, to ban truth, right? The alt-right doesn't deal with that stuff because they want to keep you psychologically involved and herded into the hive mind of the left and the right. Because at the end of the day, that's what's going to destroy this country. And that's all done by design. I thank you guys for being here. Hope you're all well. God bless you as always, and your families.